bad news? Or worse?
Everyone excited for the festival tomorrow?
Dragon Day! I can't wait for the Sacky Tack races.
What's the news?
I've heard things, Poto. Dark things.
Oh, no one can fight the fangs.
No one can, or no one will.
We fought a fang! Oh, we're in so much trouble.
Sea dragons. Oh, hello, ray lazy, low, well, dark in the deep.
How does this child know this song?
He spoke?
Rumor is, Black Carriage took 3 children in Dugtown last month.
They're taking children now? When does this nightmare end?
They took Sarah! Oh. What happened? The fangs slaughtered the Black Carriage!
Slow down, boy.
Florid sword. They went to find the florid sword.
What's happening?
Igiby, and stop the boat. Bend off the oar.
Pete?
Oops, Arthur Wingfeather.
Protect him, Arthur.
Who is Espen Wingfeather?
Husband. Was your father?
No one gave orders to arrest you all. Zest my wagon up the road.
Arrest us? The children too?
Fronius said the Black Carriage is coming tonight. After that...
We'll never see Mama and Grandpa again.
Agate Loop won't save you. Not when we know about the jewels of Aerwiar.
Why does the Mighty One continue to seek these jewels?
Would you question the wisdom of Nag the Nameless?
The whole garrison of fangs is coming. You have to go. Hide. Run.
What are the jewels of Aerwiar?
Your father was the High King of the Shining Isle. I was the Queen. You 3 are all that is left of that great kingdom.
The jewels of Aerwiar.
Hey everybody, Chris Wall here, executive producer of Wingfeather Saga, the animated series.
Hey everybody, Andrew Peterson here. I'm in a truck. I'm the author of the Wingfeather Saga and one of the executive producers, and we're glad that you're here. I'm in a truck because I'm on tour right now, and this is the quietest place I could find.
Andrew, okay, so today we were so excited to reveal this music video from a song that you wrote, but a lot of people still think of you as the author first, and not as this amazing singer-songwriter who's on tour right now. Is that still happening to you? Do you have fans still like, wait, you sing songs?
Yeah, it's funny. There will be people who come to the shows with their books, and they're like, "Yeah, we had no idea that you did music. We were just online and saw that you were going to be in concert," and they come to the show. So it's funny. And then a lot of people who come to my concerts, they're there for the music, not the books. So it's a funny mashup.
That's great. Well, you're on tour with Behold Lamb of God, the Christmas tour, which is beautiful and awesome. And thank you for taking a minute to hang out with us. We are going to talk tonight about this amazing song, My Love Has Gone Across the Sea. But before we jump into that, we have Jodi Benson going to join us here in a minute, who's the voice of Nia. Can't wait to roll that out. But first, so many of you have been excited about Wingfeather Saga merch and the online official store, wingfeathersaga.com/store, has all this cool stuff, new stuff like every day. So I can't even describe all the things, Andrew. There's plush. I think the figurines are officially in stock now.
Yes. Cannot wait to get mine. That's so exciting.
Yeah, they're shipping them by air across, and then they're getting them out to folks really fast. But every time that you buy merch from us, you're helping to make our show. It's amazing. And Andrew, I think we talked about this last time we were together, but the Wingfeather Saga fans are by far the most generous with Pay It Forward. So the show, as you all know, is free to watch at Angel Studios. And if you like what you're seeing, we ask you to help support it so we can continue to make more seasons to tell the whole story. And you guys have. And thank you for that support. We're kind of like, I was just listening, local NPR was doing a little pledge drive, and that's like us, right? Like we did this amazing programming. And if you like it, go support it. And thank you for doing that. And I hope more can join because we are ready to jump hard into completing season 2, as well as season 3 is on us. We watched the animatic for the first episode already. So excited. Season 2, in case you're wondering, is coming to you in spring of next year. Very excited about those plans. We'll talk a lot about that in the new year. For now, we're just telling people more and more about season 1. We keep finding fans of the books and others who just haven't found the show yet. And so we're doing a lot of work to get that out there. But yeah, so today happens to be the last day to order from the store and get it in time for Christmas with regular shipping. If you want to do 2-day stuff, you can order on the a little bit later on the 18th. But today is the last day. So if you want to grab some stuff, go get it.
Yes.
Andrew, let's jump into this song. My Love Has Gone Across the Sea. This is kind of a quintessential Andrew Peterson happy sad song. Tell us about where the song came from and kind of what we were inspired by to get into it.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I loved about writing the Wingfeather Saga was the occasional songs that show up in there. And I was sitting in the coffee shop working on that chapter in The Monster in the Hollows. And several times, like all of the songs in the books were just me sitting there going, it seems like maybe there ought to be a song here, because sometimes I'll mention that Lily's singing a song or somebody's singing, but there's no lyrics. And sometimes I would actually have, the energy to dive in and try to actually write something. So I just kind of made something up off the cuff. I was like, oh, here's something that would be fun for her to sing, and didn't think a whole lot about it. I was just like, here's some verses. And because, I had no intention of ever actually putting real music to any of these songs. I just wanted them to live in the world of the story and be left alone. And so that was where it started. And it was so crazy when I got to that scene, when I was reading the book to my kids, the early drafts, and I got to that scene and I read the poem, I started crying, because that was when I realized that there was some weird subconscious, or I don't know how this stuff works, but God allowed the theme of the song fit so perfectly with what was happening in the story, in the broader story. It was this like weird little meta picture of what the whole story was about. So anyway, it just felt like a sweet gift. And then, I guess it was about a year or two later, when we were kickstarting book 4, we were, because we were raising money with the fans to do a really nice hardback edition of the 4th book, that somebody had the idea of one of the stretch goals being recording of one of the songs, and that was the lyric that my brain first went to. And I'm a huge fan of this singer-songwriter named Kate Rusby. She's from the Yorkshire Dales in England, and Ron Block, my buddy Ron Block, plays with her a lot. And but yeah, it's this really beautiful British Isles kind of like lonesome old folk tunes with this killer band. And so in a lot of those songs, you know, there are these like really heartbreaking, tragic ballads that are in all these old English stories, you know. And anyway, a lot of them involve, you know, people dying at sea, or there's a murder and whatever. There are these tragic stories. But I was like, yeah, I want to try to make it like one of those songs, you know, where it's really heartbreaking and sounds kind of like a windswept cliff kind of ocean view. And with the twist that in this song, I wanted it to be not that, you know, this person is left behind and, you know, the husband sails off to sea and the wife is just kind of pining for him. I thought, what if she was discontent to just wonder how he was, and think, if he's in trouble, I'm going to go find him. I'm going to go bring him home if I can. And anyway, that kind of gave me the idea for making it sound like the kind of Irishy ballad. Trying to remember what the next part of the story was.
Well, so I know for me personally, it was going to the book release party at Parnassus here in Nashville.
Yeah.
And you had this amazing squeezing people in, people standing outside. It was crazy. And you got up there and with young Sky Peterson, who was 11 at the time, played this song live. And we actually have that clip of you guys. So if you don't mind, we'll throw that up here real quick. Here we go. Check us out.
Love has gone across the sea to find a country far and fair. Sailed into the gilded west, and lo, my heart will never rest till my love returns to me, or I set out to find him there.
So good. Wow.
Yeah, Sky is so cute in that. And I remember being very nervous. My friend Bethany played violin on it, and she had only heard the song the day before. So we just like threw it together really quickly so that we could play it at that book release event at Parnassus. And anyway, yeah, Sky was just adorable. And I don't think she can sing that high anymore. She's a woman now, you know. But anyway, yeah, that was the beginning of that. And then I think after that, I recorded it because I had a kind of a greatest hits CD coming out that the label was releasing, and I thought, oh, that's a good, nice little place for a B-side like that to live. And so Sky sang on it, Ron Bach played guitar, Stuart Duncan played fiddle, and Jeff Taylor played accordion. We had this really pretty acoustic version of that song that showed up on, which you can hear if you look it up on iTunes or Spotify or whatever. But then,
well, that gets us to 2014.
You and I
started talking and got serious about like, what do we do?
Yes.
I remember the discussion being, what should our main theme be? Like, what's our Star Wars? What's our thing? And you're like, I think it might be this melody. And you know, so we started talking about like, we do want just that version of it, just like the current guitar. And the idea was, well, what if we did like a cinematic, like something that's like, felt like it was out of a movie, right? And so Kurt Heineke got after it. And then our friend Brent McCorkle. So Brent is a brilliant filmmaker that I had worked with. He'd done some editing with me and on some other stuff. And he just recently directed Jesus Revolution this last year. So he's continued to be a brilliant filmmaker. But he was like, hey, let me take a whack at that. And he did this brilliant kind of epic cinematic version that then Keith Lango, this was actually pitch materials. Tom Owens had done some character designs that were rough, and we were like, we'll use this as like our sizzle reel when we go to pitch the show. And so we did this map flyover, very Lord of the Rings inspired, that we flew over your map that you had designed. and made this cool thing. So we actually have this clip from, this would have been 2015, probably early 2016, I think was when this came.
Yeah, and just to be clear, this is, I did not draw this map. This was Justin Gerard hand painted the map.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, and then Keith like made it 3D, and it's so cool. I geeked out. Yeah.
Okay, so check this out. Here's this cool map in cinematic version. So cool. It's fascinating to see those characters, AP, because that was kind of Tom's kind of Hank Ketchum version, right, of the characters. And we played that thing in a lot of rooms, man, as we were shopping this thing.
We did. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I just remember like something about the way Keith, or not Keith, Kurt Heineke took Sky's vocal and the general melody and built this like really epic thing, which was, you know, that's the thing that I want people to get when they see this show or they read the books, like that there is this is a big story, you know what I mean? And like seeing that map fly over, I was like, oh my goodness, it feels as big as I wanted to feel. It was so cool. And that melody works as a cinematic kind of theme.
It totally worked. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Couldn't believe it.
So then we started talking. We knew that was like the theme we'd use in the show for different big moments as the series came to life, starting in 21. And, you know, then of course we started releasing that in 22. But early this year, we finally got to what does that song look like in the context of the show? And we had this moment where Poto's injured and mortally so. And we thought, what if Nia sang a portion of the song, just a bit of it? And kind of this sense of grief, you know, over what he's experiencing, and as a means to kind of help him, you know. So we asked Jodi, of course, hey, could you give us this? And that turned into this incredible moment in episode 6 of season 1. Check this out here.
Let me in.
Are you hurt?
I'll be fit for a frolic soon as I catch my breath.
There must be 100 fangs.
200, I'd wager. Now, come over and give your old Poto a swig of that brine.
Lily, my pack, quickly. Stay with us, please.
Grandpa?
Papa!
I sing a song for your Poto.
Mama, what do we do?
My love has gone across the sea to find a country far and fair. He sailed into the gilded west, and lo, my heart will never rest until my love returns to me, or I set out to find him there. Come home, come home, sing to thee, my love, come home and rest thy head. I'll watch for
There's just too many of them, boy.
the winter long and sing for you a summer song. And if
Courage, Arthur.
return to me.
Well, if this is the end, let's make it good.
Everybody, please welcome Jodi Benson. So good to see you.
Hey, wonderful to see both of you. This is fun. This is how we get to see each other through this Zoom.
That's right. It's our life, man. It's great to have you, and what an amazing performance you gave to that song in the show. It just absolutely stole people's hearts. We've heard from so many fans having watched season 1 that were like, "What was that?" Congratulations.
Well, it's a group effort. It's a group effort. You know, it's Andrew's amazing song, your incredible direction, all the animation team. It's everybody. It's definitely a group effort.
It's a great moment in that. It's such a wonderful climax to that first season, isn't it? Yeah, just did everything right. All the bells were ringing. It was so great. So thank you.
You were really intent when we were in the booth making this, and a lot of fans have commented on this, just how special it made it, making it a character performance. That it wasn't just you singing, you have a beautiful voice, but it was also being Nia.
Right.
In the song. Talk about where that came from.
Yeah, that's the only way storytelling works through song, is if you can completely delve into the character. And you know, it's always a little bit tricky when you're in a recording studio and you know, John's in the booth and I'm in a little studio by myself creating the entire world around me with all of your help as a staff and a team that has gotten me to that moment of what's actually happening. And so you really do have to throw yourself into the environment when it comes to animation, especially because you have nothing really to work from except the words on the page. So I knew the only way this song was going to work was if I could understand where Nia was during all of these moments, again, without any really helpful visual aspects. And that's the exciting thing about storytelling. And when you don't have a whole lot to go off of, but it lets you kind of delve in there with your imagination, with your heart, with your spirit, and completely engulf yourself in that moment. And it's such a beautiful song. When you have an incredible song with really heartfelt lyrics, it makes my job so much easier. So it was, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it was hard. I mean, obviously you get very, very emotional and you do a few passes but with all of you around me kind of directing, guiding, molding, shaping, we found the right heart, I think, for the song and for that moment, you know, within the series.
And, you know, for folks that don't know that, of course, voices come first. And I think it's so important that you are out in space, you know, that you're not, well, they get to experience it at the end and all these visuals to support it, but you set the foundation of all of it. And that's unique to animation. Obviously, you've had a long career doing this, in invoking character and so much into your voice, right? Very simply.
Right, and it's always been a challenge, you know, even though I've been doing this for, you know, close to 40 years now, it is still challenging. It's challenging when you just have the words on a piece of paper. Yeah. But when you have your director and you have your composer and we have our author, we've got the whole team. All of you are so integral into feeding and creating what I'm going to be living in that moment. Mm-hmm. So without that, you know, it's kind of scary flying by the seat of your pants. But I had enough information, you know, to really land and make sense of the story, and how important the song was. But again, it's a monologue that happens to be put to pitch. And so you've got to tell the story. That's the most important part. There are notes that aren't going to be perfect. There are notes that are going to be pitchy. There are notes that are going to be too breathy. And that all doesn't matter. It needs to be a monologue. And you have to feel something when you listen to the song. And so it doesn't need to be perfect, but it does need to be perfect for Nia and exactly what's happening in that moment.
Wow, wonderful. I just love, like, the imagination is such a powerful thing, isn't it? That you could be in that booth and you in your mind are picturing something and feeling something and imagining something. Somehow that makes its way through all of these microphones and electronics into the hearts of these people sitting at home. And I'm just amazed by it. Like on the Christmas tour that we're on right now, Jill Phillips is a great singer, and she sings this song called "Labor of Love," written kind of about Mary giving birth to Jesus. And this year, she's been singing it for 2 decades on this tour. And this year, I was just like, man, there is something happening up there. Like her voice is mature, you know, and there's this amazing thing. And she was like, it's because this year on tour, every night, she said, I'm putting myself in a different part of Mary's story. And she's imagining, it was so interesting. I didn't know she was doing this, but I was like, there's something about her imagination, the way she's putting herself in Mary's story, that is communicating something new to the audience, which is exactly what you're doing.
Right. And then that makes you feel something. And that's what we need. We need connection with the audience. If we don't have connection with the audience, it's empty words. It's like an empty song. It's just notes coming out of my mouth. And if you remember, like, once I do it, I'm in the groove and I'm like, let's go again. Like, talk to me right now. Cause I get in my zone and I'll be like, let me just do a couple more. And then we can stop for notes and tidbits. And we need this and we don't need that. But like, once you're in the zone, you kind of just have to keep living in that moment.
That's so good. Well, there was a lot of amazing moments in season 1, Jodi, that you brought to life. This was kind of this amazing song at the end of it. But are there other highlights for you that kind of stand out as part of that journey in making season 1?
Oh my goodness. Well, I love going to the studio. I mean, every time that we get together, it's so much fun. I mean, it's playtime, and I love being in the studio. I love animation. I really do. It's so freeing. And you can make a fool of yourself and you can make a million mistakes and it just doesn't matter. And it's so freeing that you don't have that in a lot of your regular life, where you can walk into a room and make a bunch of mistakes.
Don't get a do-over.
Not get in trouble or, lose your paycheck. But when I'm in the booth, especially with animation, there is something about it when I get behind the mic that I just go there. I go into the world, I go into the script, I am fully invested, and I have detached from Jodi sitting in the booth. That's why I don't take a lot of breaks. I don't need to. I'm like, let's just go. Let's just do our 4 hours. And I know everybody else has to use the restroom and get something to eat or drink. But I'm kind of like, I'm there and I'm fully committed. So let's go.
I learned, for the folks at home, I learned to bring my snacks and water before the sessions, because I didn't know this first couple of times. And I was like, when she starts, there's no stopping.
And I forget that there's a whole bunch of other people going, oh my goodness, I would really like to have a glass of water, maybe a little bite of food. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. There's other people. It's not just me.
Right. Were there other, so for folks that don't know, we in our show do record separately with each of our actors. We don't get to be in a room together per se. Maybe in the future we can do that. But there are certain characters that you're interacting with, obviously kind of imaginatively interacting with. Were there favorite characters to interact with for you?
Oh gosh. Poto and my kids are just precious. And Chris, you do a great job of playing all of them, by the way. Chris plays all the parts, but I believe it. I believe when he's reading, when you're reading with me as Poto and each one of my children, it's completely believable. And I forget that it's you. You know, I'm all in. I'm all in. So I love those relationships. The father-daughter relationship, the mother-child, really, they're just magical moments for me.
Were there parts of Nia that were natural to you that you're like, oh, that's me, and you could connect with?
Yeah, you know, being a mom, of course, our son's 24 and our daughter's 22. But you never forget parenting at all those different stages and all those tender moments and relationships and moments of guidance and direction and strength and communicating strongly, you know, with a child. Thankfully, when you're in animation, everything that's part of you throughout your whole life comes to the table with you. And that's wonderful. You know, you've got this whole tank of wonderful information that's going to come out of you when you're in the studio, and it's there, and maybe you're not even prepared, but it's in there. You know, who you are as a person is going to come out in all these different facets when you're behind a mic. They kind of surprise you sometimes, you know, the emotion that comes up with it. You know, my dad left when I was 11 and I didn't have a relationship with him at all. And so there are a lot of times when I'm reading with you, Chris, as Poto, and that relationship, because I didn't have that. And that's a loss that I've had to deal with as an adult. And I get very emotional with those scenes regarding Poto, you know, wondering what that father-daughter relationship is like, because I don't have a lot to pull from for those scenes.
Wow. As that journey continues, that's going to be into season 2 and beyond. Their relationship goes through a lot of trials, and that's going to be beautiful to watch unfold personally.
You know, and meeting the cast last year at the premiere, to meet Kevin and to meet the children in person was so huge for me. I think it was really a big deal for me. It may not have been a big deal for the rest of the cast, but I was so overwhelmed meeting them as father and these children that, oh my gosh, it was very overwhelming for me.
Well, it was for the kids particularly. Keo and Griffin and Romy, like, oh my gosh, you know, they of course, as young actors, look to you as just someone who has really filled out the space beautifully and carved a way for them to move forward, to know this is the kind of characters you can create.
But it was funny because, like, meeting Kevin, I think he was kind of like, oh, it's nice to meet you, Jodi, you know, actor to actor. But I mean, I was really like hugging him like, you're my dad. I think I kind of freaked him out a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. We're supposed to be cool. Like, you're a professional, you know, actor, and I'm an actor, you know, I'm a grown up. You know, I'm not your little girl.
I remember like thinking when I saw all of you guys up there together in person, just what a blessing it is that this cast came together. Everybody is so perfect for their roles, you know what I mean? It was like, that doesn't always happen. Yeah, it took a lot of work to get there, but when I saw everybody assembled, it was like, oh, I can't imagine it any differently than this, you know?
Right. People always ask me, like, it's a good thing that you like kids, because, you know, doing Ariel for 37 years, you're around children all the time. It's a good thing you like kids, you know? And I always thought, oh, I never really thought about that, but I guess that's true. Same thing with playing Nia. It's a good thing that, you know, you like children, because you have to be a mom.
You had this Ursula moment. Get out of here, you little wretch.
That's right. You know.
Right, so let's talk about accents, because you're talented with so many accents. We talked at the beginning with Nia about, you know, that she's from Benrona, right? So she'd have, but she's hiding it. So fans have noticed, right, that she's got an accent, but it's like it's sneaking out. It's not fully present, and it was kind of a concept, right? We're like, well, she's in Scree, she probably needs to like pull that back a little bit and have kind of standard American English. Talk about that journey of finding that accent, and then, you know, all the way through, including in the song.
Well, if you remember, when the audition season was for your project, it was during COVID. So I was locked in my closet, you know, with my microphone, and I'm reading through the copy to try to pull together. And I'm like, what? This is a fantasy, you know, what is going on with this kind of dialect? So I really tried a whole bunch of things locked in my closet that day. And, you know, a little bit with a German thing, a little bit with like a a Swedish, a little thing with a British, a little thing with Scottish, which I'm not really good at, but I was kind of playing with that. And then I kind of landed into this sort of mixture of an Irish / I don't know what sort of dialect. And then it was the call of like, you got it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what voice did I end up sending? I don't remember. So the first day, you know, that we all worked together, I was desperate, like, oh gosh, I hope they let me hear something that I sent for the audition, because I have no idea where we're going with this.
Andrew, when you were reading Nia for the read alouds and for the audiobooks, did you give her an accent?
I don't think I did. No, I wimped out on the audiobooks with her. I gave Poto a pirate accent, and I gave, when she gets to the Green Hollows, I gave them that accent. But a lot of the characters that talked a lot, I was like, that's signing up for a real commitment over the course of more than 1,000 pages of maintaining an accent. Because, you know, there's this accent drift that happens. I'm sure you've experienced.
Right.
Where my kids, when I was reading it aloud to them, they would raise their hand and be like, "That you're using the wrong accent, Papa." And I have to go back and fix it. But no, I just read it straight. But I love the concept. I love the idea that, you know, one of the fun things about making this show is that we got to really dig in, like put even more flesh and blood on this story and ground it in a real world, you know. And so we were like, okay, if she's from there, where's her accent? She needs to have some kind of, but she's hiding it. So I love the way you kind of balanced that. Like it's you hear it sneak out when she's talking to the kids, but it's not always there, you know, which is perfect. Yeah.
Probably me winging it, basically, Andrew. It's probably just winging it. I mean, like, whatever comes out, comes out. And then I'm like, well, we could try one with a little bit, no, less, more.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Well, we talked after the season came out and said, man, this song is so powerful. Jodi, would you be willing to film a behind-the-scenes music video to do it? And you were so great to say, yes, let's go for it. And so we have put this together. We're so excited about it. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we present My Love Has Gone Across the Sea featuring Jodi Benson, music video. Check this out.
My love has gone across the sea to find a country far and fair. He sailed into the gilded west, and lo, my heart will never rest until my returns to me, or I set out to find him there. Come home, I sing to thee, my love, come home and rest thy head. I'll watch for you the winter in death, my love, I loved you best.
There it is. Amazing. Thank you, Jodi. Folks, if you love the music video as much as we did, go find it. It's live on YouTube, or will be just after you've seen it here. Share it with your friends and family. Tell them about what you got to see just now. Jodi, that was an amazing performance. Once again, channeling that song in the booth. Tell us about that experience.
Well, it was so fun, and all of you were so, well, first of all, congratulations to the entire team. I mean, with Angel Studios, Wingfeather, all of our creative team, all of you, and some special people that I was able to invite into this project to work with was my son, McKinley, and his wife, Mackenzie. And so that was so exciting when all of you said, hey, we're going to do this in Atlanta. And I said, well, I happen to have an amazing team. So our son is a filmmaker, a videographer. Our daughter-in-law, daughter-in-love is what I call Mackenzie, is an incredible portrait photographer, set dresser, all of the above. So the two of them just created that beautiful set. And we had Patrick Joshua as our DP, and we had M. Carter as our beautiful production designer, and with a mood board. And this was the first time that I had worked with my son and his wife since they've been married. So the two of them together as a team, and it was magical. It was so much fun. We had an incredible day shooting this together, and I was just so blown away at how organized they were, their schedule, their shot list. Everything just went smooth. We finished an hour and a half early. I mean, who does that? And they cleaned up the entire set and the whole studio and made it look pristine. When the people walked back in, they said, we've never seen anybody rent our space and return it better than when you all walked in. And I was just so proud, but just blown away at their professionalism. I know they're both talented, but I can be, I can step back as a mom and just look at them as professionals. And
They really are. And Jodi, whenever someone does this, can my kids help you? Like, can I see what your kids do? And so he shared some stuff. And we're like, oh my gosh, yeah, he'd be great. And we knew he'd have a rapport, right? That's always something you want. And it wasn't, and I couldn't be there. So we were like, we got to trust somebody to get there. And what we got back demonstrated all of that. And of course, John got to join as well, your longtime engineer.
Yes, he's been my engineer on and off, mostly on for almost 19 years. We worked together here in Atlanta. And so I kind of begged him, he doesn't like to be on camera, but I begged him to be in there with us because it was so important to have him be there, because it's just the two of us, he and I, here in Atlanta with all of you, everywhere around the world. So I really wanted him to participate. So between Mackenzie and McKinley and John and Patrick, it just felt like home, and all of them incredibly talented people. And I was so honored to work with everybody that day.
And Jodi, I don't know that Andrew knows this, but you actually learned the melody so you could play on the piano.
Yes.
In that little bit.
That's in there. That's so
yeah.
funny.
So that was McKinley's idea. He said, you usually work with a piano. And I said, I didn't have a piano in one of the booths that we had worked on before. And so I had two pianos, and I don't play piano, but I can play notes as I'm learning a song. And so that was really fun. He's like, I'd love to incorporate that, and how you look at the lyrics and how you look at the notes and kind of plunk things out. So that was really special.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, it's a feather in my cap. I never would have dreamed that Jodi Benson would end up singing this song back when I wrote it. So thank you.
Thank you for being part of it. Sweet thing to say. Oh my gosh. Well, I wanted to do you and your daughter Sky justice on it, and what a beautiful rendition that you have and that she has. And so I'm just honored to get to tell Nia's story in through this beautiful music video.
Now, Jodi, on that day, some fans have noticed that Mackenzie, I believe, helped with this, but we got some photos of you wearing some Wingfeather merch.
Yes. It was so much fun. They were like, well, do you want to model it? I said, no. I'm not a model. But if you would like a mom to throw on some of this stuff, we can have fun together. So I was actually down at Mackenzie's studio is in their apartment. And so we had so much fun with M. Carter and Mackenzie and me while McKinley was setting up the other studio. And it was so much fun. Got to wear all the.
Did you have a favorite item that you tried on that you're like, oh my gosh?
Oh yes, I really like the. It's like a heather green sweatshirt. It's Wingfeather Saga. I really love that one, and I love the fanny pack. Now, of course, I'm from the time period where you wear fanny packs around your waist. But so I put it on for the photo, and both of the girls were like, "No, that's not how you wear that. You wear it." I'm like, but it's a fanny pack. Yeah. No, it goes over your shoulder. So I guess I wasn't cool enough for that, but that was really cool too. I do like that. I'll call it a fanny pack. I like a fanny.
There you go. Well, thank you for being able to do that. And fans have seen it in the Wingfeather store and they love it. It's just delightful.
Oh, good.
Well, thank you, Jodi, again, for taking time here to roll this music video out to the world. Such a sweet thing. And I'm so glad to have you on the show. You're done with voice on season 2.
Yes.
Is there a special moment from season 2 that you're so excited for fans?
Oh my gosh. But I don't want to tell anything because it's spoiler.
No, spoilers.
Just to say there is serious adventure, like serious, stressful, suspenseful. Oh my gosh. So I'd be reading the script at home before going to the studio. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. And so I'd get there the next day and, you know, I'm just like sweating because you're running and I'm being chased and don't want to tell any more, but very suspenseful season. It's like nail biting.
I can't wait. Well, lots to show. Season 2 coming out in the spring. Jodi, thank you again for taking the time and we will see you again very soon.
Thank you both
Merry
so
Christmas.
much. Love to both of you. Merry Christmas. And thank you so
Merry
much
Christmas.
to the Wingfeather family and all the supporters and all the fans. We really appreciate it. And I'm glad you like the new music video. We're super excited about it. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye. So good to have Andrew and Jodi joining us here. And thank you all for tuning in. A couple things to wrap up. Reminder, today is the last day. If you want to order from our Wingfeather Saga store, wingfeathersaga.com/store, the official merch store, to get it in time for Christmas. And you can do that. There's so many cool things out there. Sarah's Locket, if you haven't seen it, is out there. The Christmas ornaments have been discounted. They're now 50% off. They're really beautiful. And they, can be beyond Christmas. They can be decorations around your room. Ranger's Guide's out there. There's a new map of Scree that we just finished that shows the areas of season 1, 2, and 3, frankly. And then there's, of course, DVD and the hoodie. The sweatshirt that Jodi talked about is very cushy. It's super soft. It's very popular around the office. There's some beanies, all kinds of fun stuff, and new socks. In addition, there's some new stuff like the Toothy Cow plushie, the Thwap plushie, Sweeblin, and then a bundle if you want to get all those guys together, which is cool. Thank you so much for watching, and go find the music video. Just search for My Love Has Gone Across the Sea featuring Jodi Benson. And share that link with your friends and family. It'll help them learn about the show, and maybe they'll be inclined to watch. We'd love it. Thank you all for joining, and we hope you have a Merry Christmas. I'll see you soon. Take care.